Long ago, in the ancient land of Sumer, there was a powerful goddess named Inanna. She was the queen of heaven and earth, the goddess of love, war, and wisdom. The people worshipped her, and her name was known in every corner of the world. But Inanna was not content with just ruling the heavens. She desired more. She wanted to conquer even the underworld, the land of the dead, ruled by her sister Ereshkigal. This is the story of Inanna's great journey, her descent into the darkness, and how it was carved in stone for all to remember. Inanna was proud and fearless. She wore a crown of the heavens, a robe of power, and carried the sacred symbols of her divine authority. One day, she decided to visit the underworld, a place no living being could enter and return from. But Inanna was no ordinary being. She was a goddess, and she believed she could challenge even death itself. Before her journey, she instructed her faithful servant Ninshubur to watch for her return. If she did not come back after 3 days, Ninshubur was to seek help from the gods. Dressed in her finest jewels and garments, Inanna approached the great gates of the underworld. The gatekeeper, Neti, saw her and asked why she had come. Inanna replied, "I have come to witness the funeral rites of my sister's husband, the bull of heaven." But this was a lie. Ereshkigal had no husband who had died. Inanna had come for power. Neti was unsure but went to tell Ereshkigal of her sister's arrival. Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld, was not pleased. She knew Inanna's pride and suspected her true intentions. She ordered Neti to let Inanna enter, but only after passing through the 7 gates of the underworld. At each gate, Inanna would have to give up a piece of her divine power. At the first gate, the gatekeeper demanded her crown. Inanna hesitated, but finally removed it. At the second gate, she had to surrender her earrings. At the third, her necklace. One by one, she gave up her rod of power, her breastplate, her golden bracelets, and finally, at the 7th gate, even her royal robe was taken. Stripped of all her divine symbols, Inanna stood naked and powerless before her sister Ereshkigal. Ereshkigal did not welcome her with kindness. She fixed her with the gaze of death, and Inanna fell lifeless to the ground. Her body was hung on a hook like a piece of meat, left to rot in the darkness. Meanwhile, in the world above, Ninshubur waited. 3 days passed, and Inanna did not return. Fearing the worst, Ninshubur went to the gods for help. First, she went to Enlil, the god of wind, but he refused, saying Inanna had brought this fate upon herself. Then she went to Nanna, the moon god, but he too refused. Finally, she went to Enki, the god of wisdom, who took pity on Inanna. Enki created 2 beings, the Kurgara and the Galater, from the dirt under his fingernails. He gave them the food and water of life, and sent them to the underworld. They slipped through the gates like shadows and found Ereshkigal in great pain, moaning as if in childbirth. The 2 beings echoed her cries, sharing her suffering. Touched by their kindness, Ereshkigal offered them a reward. They asked for Inanna's body, and Ereshkigal, bound by the rules of the underworld, could not refuse. They sprinkled the food and water of life over Inanna's body, and she awoke. But the underworld had a rule. No one could leave unless someone took their place. As Inanna ascended, demons clung to her, demanding a replacement. When she reached the surface, she found her husband, Dumuzi, sitting on her throne, dressed in royal robes, not mourning her death. Enraged, Inanna allowed the demons to take him. Dumuzi tried to escape, but the demons caught him. His sister, Inanna, loved him dearly and offered to take his place for half the year. Moved by her sacrifice, Inanna agreed. From then on, Dumuzi would spend half the year in the underworld and half above with the living. This became the cycle of the seasons. When Dumuzi was below, the earth grew cold and barren, and when he returned, life bloomed again. The story of Inanna's descent was carved into stone by the ancient Sumerians so that no one would forget. It was a tale of pride, suffering, death, and rebirth. It explained why the seasons changed and why life must always balance with death. Stone tablets tell us that even the greatest must face darkness, but with wisdom and sacrifice, light can return. Inanna's journey was more than a myth. It was a lesson, a reminder that power has limits, that even gods must pay a price for their ambitions. But it also showed that from death comes renewal, and from suffering, wisdom. The story of Inanna, carved in stone, still speaks to us today across thousands of years, telling us that life is a cycle, and every descent is followed by a return.